Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 45 of Local to Global, here with the Canadian Wrestling Coalition. Now, this episode we're going to do a lot. We're going to do a lot. We're going to change a lot of the storylines around. Of course, we're going to book 3 TV shows, and I think it's gearing up to potentially be one of our best episodes. Now, I wanted to start something off by first going into the settings. Now, after last episode, I was pretty frustrated. Again, I feel like that main event should have been better than an 81. And I just feel like the way the game is at the moment, there are some sort of weird tendencies, like the double penalty for the storylines. Now, there was some helpful comments about it, and then there was also me doing a little bit of digging. But it seems like the storylines, they're just overly they over penalize for having really good matches if your angles are slightly below what that match would normally get, if that makes sense. And I don't really agree with that, to be honest. I don't really think that was kind of the way it was on 2016. I feel like if you had a match that was in a hot storyline, it said it was a hot storyline. Like the game actually itself described it as hot. And then you had 2 workers that were incredible in the ring or incredible popularity, depending on what your product is. They would go in there and put on a real show, have an extremely high quality match, even with a similar level of heat for that storyline. Whereas on 2020, it seems like you're just penalized for little things like that. And honestly, I don't like it. I don't like it. So what I'm thinking about doing is potentially changing some stuff in here. We're not going to do it this episode, but I want to put it out there to you guys. Should I be changing a few things? The one thing that I would really like to change is the crowd burnout. I don't think that having crowd burnout like it is now is realistic, even in the slightest. What I mean by that is, if you look at last episode, our most recent pay-per-view, we had a cooldown match literally before the main event. Now, from that cooldown match, we had one angle, which was essentially with a main eventer. As you would expect, it was Davis, our world champion, leading into that fatal 4-way match. And, it was an 80, I think it was about an 82 or something like that, 84. Obviously not the best angle, but obviously it was done to a cooled crowd. However, we then went into the main event, which essentially got around the same sort of match rating, I guess, but it's kind of a weird thing because obviously it had the storyline penalties, 2 storyline penalties, inflicting the lower match rating there. But yeah, it was also done to a burnt out crowd, despite having a cooler crowd match, literally the previous match on the card. So I don't understand that. It's not realistic at all. I mean, if you calm the crowd, you give them an angle for the main event, the world champion, it's going to bring the crowd back up, but it wasn't a 100. It wasn't overly excessive. And then you go into a main event of that quality with 4 extremely talented, I would say 3 of them are actually over. I would say Diaz is a little bit lower than the top main eventers, but even him being in that match, he's still a really talented wrestler as well. And it's just another penalty, and it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. So like I said, not going to change anything here, but maybe strict storylines, could disable those. Obviously, there's some other stuff we could probably do as well. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if we go into maybe preferences, there's probably, crowd management is in there in preferences. I don't want to take away things that I feel like are productive and sort of realistic, because that is one of the factors that I do like. I mean, in saying that, I should probably have pre-booking bonuses on, but I just know for a fact that I will. Actually, it wouldn't be crowd management. It would literally be crowd burnout down there. Yeah, it's just a weird thing. I mean, I don't think there's anything else really here. Like even left off show, I can understand that. It seems realistic that if you're not using workers in pay-per-views and stuff like that, and, you know, consistently leaving them off TV shows, they are going to get upset. I can accept that. What I can't accept is for a hot storyline to get 2 penalties in a match, 2 penalty, you know, negatives in a match, just, I don't know, it just boggles my mind. And then the burnout as well. I feel like I've explained that pretty well, and I don't think our main event deserved to have a burnout penalty. Just, yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I want to get a little bit of clarification. Obviously, it's me playing the game. I need to enjoy the way I play it. And at the moment, you can probably sense a little bit of frustration because what those penalties are doing, it's just really holding us back from getting the match quality, the show quality that we probably deserve to be getting if it wasn't for those storylines. Anyway, this is kind of what I'm talking about. So that's a 78 rated storyline. I mean, we only need 50 heat to meet the demand of the fans. So how would we be getting penalized? What I don't understand. It's just very strange. Anyway, enough complaining. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's very important for the series going forward. If you don't want me to touch a thing, let me know. Say don't change any settings or preferences. But if you agree with me and you think either or both, potentially, both the storylines and the crowd burnout, if we should turn them off, and I think it would potentially lead to the series actually getting better. And I don't think they're realistic, like I've said a few times now. Anyway, enough about that. Let's just actually get into booking. I mean, it's what I love to do. Love booking on the fly. I have a little bit of plans in my head, as per usual. Not a lot going on in there, but we've got some. I've got some interesting ideas. First of all, I think we've obviously got Aldous Blackfry coming in. I think with him going up against Leicester, we'll write Leicester out. Leicester might eventually come back to us, depending on if IPW go out of business. But they did have a lot of money, despite dropping down to small. So I didn't really know what that sort of article was about towards the end of last episode. Seemed a little bit strange. Obviously, I think it said the death of IPW, but I think them going up in size and then coming straight back down doesn't really make too much of a difference. Anyway, so we've got Enforcer Roberts, who is a road agent, I believe. Yeah, he's a very good road agent, to be fair. Yeah, he's very talented. I don't think we need him though. Obviously, we've got quite a few road agents, so I think on that front we're pretty much fine. Take a look and see what's going on with SWF and TCW shows as well. And they've got some good matches, 89, 91. But their main event was pretty bad. I say it's bad. It's actually about the same as what we've been getting. So, can't be that bad, can it? And then you look at TCW. I really feel for TCW. Like, the quality of matches, literally just on their TV show. I mean, they get a 92 for Velocidad defeating Frankie Boy Fernandez. That seems pretty hilarious. He's good. Actually, very good. He's developed a lot. And obviously, Velocidad is very talented and very over. So, fair play. Also, off topic, got a haircut. Looking fresh. Had a lot of hair in the most recent episodes as well. I'm not a fan of long hair. So happy to get the haircut. All right, so we do indeed have Aldous Blackfriar for tonight's show. So I'm really looking forward to that. Anyway, we're going to go to Brampton. Apparently over 11,000 are predicted. You just double check. You want to make sure that we're in a big enough, location to sustain the capacity. We definitely are for Brampton. All right, so let's do storylines first. Like I said, we've got a little bit to do with storylines. We're going to end some of them. I don't think that one needs to end, Faith No More. But what we will do is add in the worker for this storyline. So Matt Hocking is going to be Maddie Faith's storyline opponent for this month. We'll get into a bit more detail with that fairly soon. Zombie Boy will be taken out of that one. I think I might we'll keep this one around, but I'm going to rename it. So Brothers for Life Are Falling Apart is going to be the storyline name for that one. Faith No More is obviously going to stick around. Not Feeling Good, we can actually end that storyline now, and we'll take away their tag team as well. Tag division is now very, very small, but that's perfectly fine as well. And that's purely only small because they're actually storyline opponents. Maybe I should put them all together. Yeah, maybe we could end this storyline, although it is rated very highly at the moment. Yeah, interesting. I might leave it for now, and I think we'll actually go with this storyline that we were originally going to do with Doc. That one can stay as well, although I did want to... Yeah, that's a tough one, because I did actually want to have Cooper Christie be in his own Canadian title storyline. Obviously, this storyline itself can, I think, stay around as well. We might actually take... I was going to take Diaz and Goldstein out. Not sure about that. We'll just leave it for now. We'll leave it for now. The crew... I mean, we can end that storyline. What I'll do is I'll put them into... We'll put the actual crew tag team, this storyline here now as well. So we need Papa Swole. And we need Public Enemy. And what we're going to do, we're going to add a new storyline now. Say it's going to be called the Rebirth of Forces of Darkness. And, well, look, there he is, number 1, Aldous Blackfriar. So we're going to have Mutant. Those two are coming in. And then I guess you go to Tag Division. Let's take Sinner out of there. Take Lester out of there as well. We've still got enough people in that actual storyline. And now we can actually add both of them into this one here as well, along with Zombie Boy. So add all 5 workers. So this will be pretty much everyone that's involved. Lester, and then we just need Sinner as well. This one's going to be a good one, I think. Obviously, all this is money, so yeah, looking forward to that one. All right, just looking, is there anything else I needed to do? I think that's kind of it. This frustrates me a little bit. But then again, who are our mid-carders? I should probably actually, yeah, let's do that. Let me change that as well. So I think let's end this storyline here. Actually, we can just let's leave it. No, let's end it. Let's end it. And our new storyline is going to be maybe Push for Canada. And then we're going to have obviously Cooper Christie, the current Canadian champion. We have Gary Walker in there as well. Who else? We need some more sort of mid-carders. Sono can go in there. And I guess Primetime Jack Pride would probably be another pretty good mid-carder to have involved. Not exactly... I mean, the main two are obviously Christie and Walker. And it's Walker's kind of push towards getting the Canadian title under his belt. Anyway, that's it's looking pretty good. So let's actually book the show. Now, the main event is... I think it's a match we've obviously done before. It's going to be Mobstar taking on Zeus Maximilian. Of course, one half of the Golden Goats. We'll just give it 16 minutes, this one. Obviously, Mobstar getting the victory here as well. Pretty understandable, I would say. Obviously, non-title match as well, after just winning the title off of Davis. But that's the whole continuation. We're going to do a rematch. Obviously, Davis would be entitled to a rematch clause. Up next, we're going to go a triple threat match. And we're going to have one member of each of our tag teams. So let's have Jackpot take on Stan Manor. And I guess we'll go for Brett Kyle as well. Should be a good match, I think. And I do want to give the victory to Jackpot Jordan there as well. I don't think we can call this one either. Let's have a look at Brett. We haven't really looked at him too much. I mean, to be fair, he's coming along really nicely. Looks like he is capped at 81 basics, but that's perfectly fine. Gaining 4 points of psychology. I mean, that seems to be about the general, amount people go up in psychology per year. It seems to be about 4 points, which is really good. He's sort of still with that level. Obviously in the ring, looks really talented still. Just recently in the last 4 months, gone up to 92 flashiness there as well. Into the 40s for brawling, into the 40s for hardcore, into the 40s for technical as well, and then gained a couple of points on his aerial. So he's definitely looking good. Just overall, really. I mean, even star quality's gone up 1 point, charisma's gone up 1 point. He's doing well. They're both definitely holding the tag titles pretty well as well. All right, so up next, I want to have John Greed, and he's going to take on Doc Hammond. Doc will be leaving us pretty soon, as he's retiring. So, yeah, in the next, I think it's maybe 2 months, just over 2 months potentially. I think for this one, let's go Tainted, and let's go an Interference onto Doc by Stephen Parker. So this will just kick off the storyline a little bit. Up next, let's go. Let's go a match for. We also have Riddick Jordan in the company now as well. But I think let's kick things off with Lester. Now, Lester needs to have a loss. I need to double check. How long? 11 days. So he's got one more TV show. Okay, I can work with that. I can work with that. All right, so let's have Lester take on. I guess let's just have him take on Jack Jackson. Just to give Jack another victory. I feel like that's a pretty important one. And, yeah. Don't think they can call either. Can Lester call? Nah, surely not. Alright, so that'll go there. We also need another sort of tag match. Let's go a 6-man, I guess. Let's have like a big team. Let's go Hocking, Goldstein, and maybe Diaz as well. Let's go Angry Gilmore instead. Didn't mean to do that. And they can take on Los Hermanos 3. Just for 10 minutes, because obviously Gilmore's involved. Give Hocking the victory there. But what I want to do is have a distraction as well during the match. Distraction onto Hocking by Maddie Faith. So Hocking will be distracted at some stage throughout the match. And that's hopefully going to kick off that storyline as well a little bit. Obviously, over the next couple of shows, we'll add on to it. But just a little something there. And then I guess finally, let's have a match between Gary Walker and Jack Pride. 10 minutes. Yeah, I think this should be a good match. Or Graham Gorman, really just haven't used him at all. So who am I looking for? Gary Walker. Alright, so that should be pretty easy. Gary Walker. I think I want to make it a tainted victory as well. It's because he's looking like a bit of a cheat these days. Which is strange. You know, obviously, when he was with Zippy, he was more of a face. Technically, he is kind of a face anyway. Couldn't really play much of a heel. Okay, so All right, let's do this. So I want to have Davis cutting an angle onto Mobstar to end the show. And let's do this. Davis Wayne Newton challenges Mobstar to an I Quit match. I Quit match. Yeah. I guess it'll be rematch, but anyway. At the next pay-per-view. I'm pretty sure the tournament is our next pay-per-view as well, so too sure how I'm exactly gonna book all these types of storylines going forward, but we're gonna book them somehow, some way. And I can't check. Can I check events history? Let's go back to last year. Where are we? November. Oh, I changed all the events, didn't I? Typical. Okay, I guess we'll find out after this first show. I don't really care. I'm booking the way I want to. I want to book storylines. It's kind of the way the series is at the moment. Anyway, up next, let's go for a Jackpot Jordan and Steven Parker angle together. I guess this would kind of be Stevie P hyping up Jackpot before the triple threat match. So that'll go there. I then guess we'll go for Hocking Aussie Goldstein and Angry Gilmore all together. Just a nice entertainment angle for all three. Hopefully with Gilmore in there, it'll boost them up a little bit. Nice and easy. Okay, so what I need to do is... Actually, I kind of feel like maybe I get rid of that angle. I'm going to replace it with something else. Let's just go with Maddie Faith, because otherwise Maddie won't essentially have any proper role on the show. And then he can cut a promo onto Hocking. We'll do it this way. Let's just make it... give a bit of text and a bit of context to the situation. Maddie Faith is severely unimpressed with Matt Hocking. Says he should join Faith No More. I think that's a good way to go. I'll explain the angle in a bit more detail once we run the show. So that'll go after. And then I want to have the debut of Aldous Blackfriar. Start that. And I guess he'll cut his angle onto Lester as well. Aldous Blackfriar debuts and claims to be the new leader of Forces of Darkness. He needs a sacrifice. And we'll leave it at that, I guess. And obviously, you can kind of tell. Well, we obviously know who his sacrifice is already going to be, but Lester doesn't. And Lester, I guess, would almost... Well, I'll explain it try and explain it in a bit more detail. And then I guess to finish off the show, let's just go with a Gary Walker angle, just to show his intent. Maybe we'll do Cooper off screen. And that'll just be him showing his intent for wanting to come for the title, pushing towards the Canadian title. All right, looks pretty good. What do we got? Storytelling? Yes. Easy. Storytelling is this one. There we go. Simple. All right, so pre-show, do a little bit of work. Let's have Cooper team up with Zach to take on... good question. Let's go Maddie Faith. And actually, no. Yes. Yeah, Maddie Faith and where is he? Rock and Ryan Turner. Obviously, Maddie Faith going to pick up the victory in this one. Going to make Zach the loser just in case. I'm assuming he would be the loser anyway. But just to be sure, I want to make sure and double check that he will be quite in fact losing this match. Why have we probably RM Stones there? Okay, I think let's do one more match. But what I need to do first is we need to add our new tag team. Alrighty, so we've got the Northern Lights. As you can see, they're actually a no company tag team as well. It's interesting. So let's grab Alton Vicious and let's grab Riddick. Riddick Jordan. There we go, the Northern Lights. Add team. And we now have a pretty decent tag team with, low popularity. But they have 81 experience. And as you can see, they're former 7-time SNP Tag Team Champions. That's ridiculous. And their first bit of action is indeed going to take on the team of Red, White, and Blue. We'll give him 12 minutes. Give him a good raid agent there as well. Let's give Riddick Jordan the victory, obviously. It is essentially his debut. I think they can call as well. This could potentially be a really good match. I think 62 will be good enough for Blue Dragon. And I'm liking the look of that show. Let's run it. All right, so we started with a 46 rated pre-show match where we have the Northern Lights defeating Red, White, and Blue in 11:47 when Riddick Jordan pinned Americana with a flying headbutt. Really good match. Debuts his badass gimmick there for Riddick, getting an initial rating of very good. So obviously that's really beneficial. Americana was really off his game, but we don't really care about that too much. And unfortunately, he gets a small penalty to psychology for his badass gimmick. And that's pretty frustrating. Not gonna lie. Anyway, it's a good debut. Pretty solid match. I mean, Alton actually got a 45, which is a lot higher than I thought he would get. And we go into our second pre-show match here, getting a 66, which is also relatively unexpected. And we do have Maddie Faith and Rock and Ryan Turner, both of Faith No More, defeating Cooper Christie and Zach Powerson. 12:01, and Maddie Faith pins Zach with a leap of faith. And then, of course, Powerson being the weak link. And then we also had Rock and Ryan Turner seeming off his game as well. And of course, Charlie doing what he does best, standing around at ringside. Good lad. All right. All right, so we kick off the show with that's a relatively good angle. It's lower than I thought he would get, to be fair. We get a 62 rated angle here from Gary Walker, of course, fresh off his pay-per-view victory. Forgot to make them inactive. But against former tag team partner Zippy Deverell. And he says that he feels like he is on a quest. He's pushing himself towards bigger and better things. He wants the Canadian title. And he's going to just try and do everything he can to get himself involved in that title picture. He then goes into a match, getting a 59 rating here, and we have Gary Walker defeating Primetime Jack Pride in 10:01 by pinfall after using a foreign object. What object, you might be asking? Good question, I don't know. What object would Gary Walker use? His monkey? No. Let's just pretend that he doesn't have a monkey. So maybe just put your finger over the screen, close one eye, and there's no monkey there. Anyway, moving on. We then go into actually a pretty good match. We get a 55 rated match, and we have Jack Jackson defeating Wicked Lester in 12:07 by pinfall with an implant DDT. And surprisingly, we have some more chemistry, good chemistry for Wicked Lester, literally as he's about to go out the door. Yeah, Jack Jackson, Wicked Lester have pretty good chemistry, and it lifted the match. Typical. Anyway, it's good. Obviously, it helped out this match, and be nice actually if you had chemistry with Aldous as well. All right, we then go into the debut of Aldous Blackfriar. And he comes out, gets a 72 rating for his angle, which I believe is here. He was the only one rated on Entertainment. That's obviously very good. And Aldous Blackfriar debuts and claims to be the new leader of Forces of Darkness. So everybody assumed that Zombie Boy was the leader. Obviously, he had leadership tendencies, but it turns out, well, supposedly, he was not. And the true leader is now here. He says that he needs a sacrifice. Very vague, very sort of, I guess unnerving would be the right way of saying it. A little bit weird, a little bit shady. Seems a bit culty. Obviously, Forces of Darkness, they lean towards the occult. You know, that type of darkness, you know, evil, sort of weird tendencies. Obviously, his gimmick is literally his satanic majesty. And, yeah, it's going to lead more towards a bit of a cult group now, I think, as well. And, yeah, at least his gimmick got an initial rating of very good. He did struggle going off script, but positive gimmick. And, as you can see, mysterious occult gimmick. And we have no pros or cons. So I'm very happy about that. It's obviously great. 72, when he struggled, is also really good. Really good. And he's already our top earner, and he's going to be our biggest talent within the next 3 to 4 months, I would say. Probably surpassing Davis would be my best guess. He's just got more about him, I think. He's got better entertainment skills for sure. In the ring, he's about as good, if not a little bit better. It's going to be interesting. Anyway, we move on to a 65 rated match here. We have Matt Hocking, Ozzy Goldstein, and Angry Gilmore defeating Brothers for Life in 10-12 when Matt Hocking pinned Louise Frost with a Hock shock. During the match, we also had Maddie Faith distract Hocking. So Maddie doesn't exactly do anything, doesn't get involved, but he's there. It's possibly scouting, definitely getting the attention of Hocking. Hocking knows he's there. Obviously, Faith made his intentions. They're not clear. Obviously, he hasn't actually spoken yet. But he made his intentions clear that he is focusing in on Matt Hocking. Anyway, lots of people off their game. We had Angry Gilmore really off his game, Gonzalez really off his game, and Ray Cavallero as well really off his game. So, it's a good match, considering these three are pretty terrible. Not even sure if we can really class Marco as a mid-carder anymore. Anyway, we then go into the subsequent angle following that sort of distraction, getting a 75, which is also really good when you consider Maddie Faith was very poor when trying to improvise dialogue. That seems ridiculous. We got a penalty for off script, and it got a 75. I'm actually happy with that. That's very nice to see. Anyway, as you can see, Maddie Faith says he has been severely unimpressed with Matt Hocking. He says that if he was to join Faith No More, things might start to turn around for him. Obviously, Faith is referring to his loss against Princeton Price at the pay-per-view, and he kind of alludes to the fact that Hocking was just in a match with two high-level talents in Angry Gilmore, Ozzy Goldstein, and basically kind of suggests that he's unimpressed and he thinks that those other two guys did most of the work here in this match. It's a good angle, and I really like the way this storyline's going to go for us over the next, maybe we might extend it to 2 months, but I like the way it's going. All right, we then move straight into our next match, which does really, really well. Get a 74 rated match for a 12-minute long contest between our 2 veterans on our roster. Of course, one is literally retiring soon. We do have John Greed defeating Doc Hammond in 11:35 by pinfall with a crash diet, following interference from Stevie Parker. Stevie P getting involved. We got John Greed with a nice 64 there. Doc under a 60 with a 59. Not the best in the world, but it's a really good match. So fair play. All right, we then go straight into a Wall Street Enterprises, well, I guess the Moneymakers angle. But obviously, it would have been Wall Street had, John Greed been in there. But it gets an 84. And I'm pretty sure it was both of them. Yeah, it was definitely both of them rated on entertainment. As you can see, they both actually got some decent bonuses there. Jackpot working the crowd well. Then we had Stephen Parker improvising well throughout the segment. Basically, Stephen backstage with Jackpot, trying to hype him up for this big triple threat. And of course, we kind of already know the triple threat sort of tag team match scenario going into this. So it's pretty cut and dry. It's pretty clear what's going on. Triple threat itself does okay, getting a 66. We do have Jackpot Jordan defeating Stan Manor and Brett Kyle in 12:22, when Jackpot Jordan pins Stan Manor with a cash-in. Of course, Jackpot looking like the momentum, well, it looks like he's swung the momentum over to the Moneymakers in regards to that triple threat ladder match that I'm going to try and do at the next pay-per-view. Of course, we are on pay-per-view now, so I'm assuming we'll be able to do ladder matches. And hopefully an I Quit match as well. Alright, we then go into a 96 rated angle here for Davis. Of course, Mobstar's come out for his match against Zeus. And Davis has obviously just come to ringside as well, because of course, him and Zeus are boys. They love each other, best friends, whatever you want to call them. And Davis, he challenges Mobstar to an I Quit match. Says that if Mobstar has what it takes, he will be able to beat Davis in an I Quit match. And Davis basically says, I wasn't the one that took the pinfall in that Fatal 4-Way match. I never lost my Unified World title. And if you want to actually keep that belt from me, you are going to need to make me quit. I will not take a pinfall. I will not submit. You need to make me say, I quit. And there is no way those words are coming out of his mouth. And basically there's confirmation as well. Let's just pretend that Robinson comes out, basically accepts the match, and it's going to be booked in. Well, we're not going to pre-book it, but you know what happens. 96 is very good, though, from Davis. Obviously, non-scripting him was a good option in this scenario, but obviously, usually I would like to actually script him, so I'll probably remember to do that next time. Anyway, as you can see, he did enjoy having the freedom to go off script, and he performed well. And the main event, well, that's looking a lot better than recent times. We had an 87 rated match. 87. This match was better than our Fatal 4-Way match by 5 points. 5 points. I think this is a really good match, don't get me wrong, that's why I made it the main event. That Fatal 4-Way should have gotten at least a 90 rating, in my opinion. Anyway, 87 is a lot higher than what we've been getting recently, so I'm happy with that. And we do have Mobstar defeating Zeus Maximilian in 15:48 by pinfall with a flattener DDT. Good victory. 89 in-ring performance there from Mobstar as well. It's very solid. It's very solid. And it's a good way to finish this first show of the episode, I think. As you can see, we actually get an 85 rated show, which I feel like we haven't seen for a little while as well. Should probably just start getting some decent angles on the show, like trying to use Goldstein, Angry Gilmore just a little bit more often. Obviously, the whole storyline focus is good because it essentially means our shows have proper purpose. But we might need to throw in some more of those angles in there, is what I'm trying to say. As you can see, ooh, yeah, 53 regions of popularity increase, which does mean we actually got an increase in Ontario. However, there are now 3 American regions. So it's no longer just Puerto Rico and Hawaii. There's also another region in there now. That's got me worried. I wonder if it's... Let's have a quick look at that, because that's made me a little bit curious. And I did say in the comments of the last episode that with us now being solely on pay-per-view in Canada, we have no other coverage for our pay-per-views. I was thinking that we might try and buy our own broadcaster in the US with medium coverage. It's a possibility, and now that there's 3 regions we're not gaining in, for the TV show especially, yeah, I got some tough decisions to think about there. Anyway, just under 440,000 viewers there for Coalition Wrestling, so good figures, good figures. Okay, we've got a Japanese announcer there. Not exactly too much better. Oh, we've also got a new head booker for Black Maple, Nathan Coleman, who is an American, so that's interesting. But anyway, have a look at size real quick. Still at 77. I think we're still exactly the same, I assume. Yeah, it looks about the same. Actually, we went up 1 point in the Maritimes. So that's pretty good. But let's take a look at the US. See, it's interesting because we've gained. It's weird. We're actually gaining popularity in Puerto Rico, which I don't understand. Yeah, that's a weird one. We've still been gaining. So now I'm starting to think that it might not be Puerto Rico or Hawaii. Now I'm starting to think that it could be some of these other higher regions. I might be wrong, but what I'm thinking is some of these regions would have a lower population than other regions. Obviously, the tri-state, I would assume, would have very high population, whereas some other places like, I wouldn't even really know, but maybe the Midwest, Mid-South, maybe not the Mid-South, actually, but some of these other areas might have lower population. And what's happened is we've probably capped them out. And obviously, first glance, just looking here, Great Lakes hasn't gone up in popularity for quite a few months. Look at the Mid-Atlantic. Last 2 months, almost, well, you could nearly say 3 months there. It's now stalled out. And then if you look at the Midwest as well, that's also been stalled out since the Great Lakes. So I think I've got this completely wrong when I first said it was Puerto Rico and Hawaii. It's looking like these other regions. Now, that means that our coverage being small on OnDem is prohibiting us getting viewership. Enough. There's not enough. How do I explain this? There is not enough coverage to get enough fans watching. The fact that it's small is what is preventing that. And obviously, we're not sort of running into that issue in Canada yet, because obviously we're only running in Ontario. If you're running shows in a region, you are still going to be gaining fans because that is the region you are in. So I believe. So in saying that, that makes me even more inclined to potentially start our own broadcaster. I guess that's another thing for you guys to let me know. Let me know if you want to see a new broadcaster being created by us. I think at the moment we would only do the US. And I think we would only go up to medium. Because I think with a medium broadcast, we would obviously get a lot more fans to those regions so we can get more popularity there. But essentially, everything actually looks pretty good. Because in order for us to actually get another broadcast deal in America, we only need those other regions that are lower to go up higher, if that makes sense. And Puerto Rico and Hawaii, they were both gaining 1 point per month. I know in saying that, I think we'd have to wait like another 15 months for Puerto Rico to actually get to the level we need it to be, which kind of sucks, but it's very interesting. The more I think about it, I'm starting to, I guess, freak out a little bit on what to actually do. Do we go broadcaster? Do we just wait and keep plugging out shows? But it's eventually going to get to the point where our popularity in Canada is going to be so much higher. So then we're going to want to potentially go on to a new commercial station for our TV show in Canada. And that would essentially cut out the on-dem deal because you can't have coverage for two separate broadcasters in the same region unless it's your own broadcaster. So decisions need to be made, and we'll leave that for maybe 2 episodes time. I want to get this first pay-per-view out of the way, just see what the finances are going to do, because we're only getting 30% as well on that pay-per-view broadcaster deal that we set up in the last episode. I feel like that was kind of low. Then again, I don't really remember the... Actually, I don't know. I feel like when I was doing my TCW live stream series on Twitch, I kind of felt like I was getting 60%. So I'm a little bit worried about that. Again, that was for obviously bigger broadcasting companies. Holy contracts. Okay. We've got a lot of stuff going on right here. And obviously something very big stands out. Logan Wolfsbane, our former wrestler. Looking better than ever, let me just say that. He's also only 27 years old. He's a former, I believe he's a former champion, am I correct? No, we never gave him the belt. We never gave him the belt, really. I think I was going to give him the belt, but then he got signed by TCW. So, yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. And of course, Diaz is related to him, I believe. I believe they're related in some capacity. I think cousins or something like that. Anyway, the contracts we're looking at are pretty high straight off the bat. CWA, oh. Dude, that would be brutal. I'd prefer him to stay. I mean, obviously it is being seriously considered. No. Oh, don't do it to me, Logan. I mean, we have to go in, surely. We're on pay-per-view. Well, we can afford it, I think. I don't know. But we're going to try and do it anyway. Wants 40% of merchandise as well. That's brutal. The 40% of merchandise is pretty bad. We'll give him 20% off the rip as well. I feel like we kind of have to at this point. Let's go 120,000, see what happens. Yep. Okay, so we've put our hat in the ring, and who knows what's going to happen with that? But let's have a look at Kirk Jamison here as well. Not as popular, equally as good. To be fair, he's a troublemaker though, so not a great personality to have. Is Stephen Parker in a tag team with him? Jack Jackson is. How random is that? Jack Jackson is in a tag team with Kirk Jamison. I mean, just saying that, it's kind of reason enough to just bring him in. Thing is, I don't want to go crazy, but he is actually really good. He's also 37, so I think we're gonna take a miss on that one. We kind of have to. You got Alvin Lavin, who is a pretty bad referee, so we'll ignore him as well. He's already extended, actually, so it doesn't matter too much. We also got a merchandise upgrade. So we're up to a professional level. So we need to continue on that as well. So I guess that'll be the first thing we do right now. Let's go to merchandise. We're up to level 6, which is perfect. This is sort of a rundown. Last month, Davis, obviously, #1 by $30,000. But I'm assuming now that, Mobstar's, the new unified world champion, also his popularity is up quite a bit into the 80s now as well. And obviously these top 3 guys are all our sort of 80 rated popularity main eventers that we have. Assuming he's going to do quite well this month. Anyway, upgrading in a rapid fashion would cost $1,000 per week and give only 2% of progress. It's going to be a long time before we reach level 7. That's perfectly fine. It's just how long it takes, really. And it is indeed one ring to rule them all. Now, I did want to make this a tournament. What we can do with it is essentially we could still do a tournament. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to modify the event. Let's go 3 hours with it. Because if we're going to do a tournament, we definitely need the time. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat it as a tournament to determine the new #1 contender for the Unified World title. So the people that it's not going to consist of will be Matty Faith, Matt Hocking, our triple threat tag team match, which we've already established. So none of those 6 guys will be involved. And then also, we won't go with either Mobstar or Davis. I feel like that's just self-explanatory. So all those guys won't be involved. I think we'll keep it small. So only maybe 8 men. And then we'll go straight into a semi-final. And then obviously the final with the winner becoming the #1 contender. I feel like that's kind of a good way to do it. So I like that. Anyway. Let's get into the next show. I'm going to take a quick sip of water here because I've been talking for 52 minutes and we are only into the second show. Alrighty, so we are going to go to Hamilton, I think. Yeah. Hamilton for this show. And then I think what I want to do... I want to go another really good main event. So what I'm thinking is we're going to go Davis and we're going to go Goldstein. Now Davis has dropped down to... Actually, he didn't drop at all. He stayed at 87 pop, which is crazy. But what I think I want to do is have Goldstein take him on. I forgot about the penalty again. I really hate that penalty. Let's go Matt Hocking instead. I know he's only got 51 pop, but let's do this. 20 minutes. Davis is going to get the victory. It is going to be tainted. And there's going to be... Let's have a botched interference finish on Hocking by Charlie Corner. I think this will be a good way to work it into the storyline as well. That's a good main event. Up next, I want to have a bit of a warm-up match for Princeton Price, because obviously we literally didn't use him at all last show. So he can take on Graham Gorman, I think. Should be a good, really good match. I might actually, let's give that 20 minutes as well. Maybe a bit of a preview for the One Ring to Rule Them All tournament. That one can be decisive. I don't mind that one being decisive. I think that it's going to be a really good match, that one. I feel like it almost has to be a good match. Up next, I want to have Rock City Stars take on... They can take on the Northern Lights. Yeah, 10 minutes on the actual main show. We'll give it 12, actually. We will give the victory to Stan Manor, though. So I guess this would kind of be like a bit of an introduction on TV for the Northern Lights. Their first TV appearance. Can actually go there, I think. Up next, we're having our sacrifice match. I wonder if we can... Probably not, but let's just take a look at the matches that are available to us. I want to see if there's like a... There is a casket match. But I'm assuming... Actually, no. Content risk is low. Let's do a casket match. Let's go like crazy out there. Like a literal sacrifice. And we're going to have... Where is he? Wicked Lester. Take on Aldous Blackfriar. Casket match. Absolute insanity. And Aldous is going to get the victory. It's going to be scripted and decisive. And then during the match, this is where it gets a little bit crazy. Wicked Lester is going to be attacked by Original Sinner. I feel like that's the best way to write him off. Original Sinner coming out. He's been brainwashed by the new cult leader, the occult leader of Forces of Darkness, Aldous Blackfriar, and Lester has been left to the wayside. Really? Okay, never mind. Let's just pretend we'll do a normal match. Pretend there's an actual... I don't know. Pretend there's an actual casket at ringside. Ruined my plans. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. What else are we doing? So let's do this. Let's have... Actually, no, we can't really do that. I'm just thinking of what we should actually do. I feel like we need to have James Diaz involved in something, so let's go a tag match here. Let's... I don't know who to go with. Who to actually team him with. I guess Giant Brody would make the most sense. And James Diaz. And they can actually take on John Greed and Stephen Parker. Kind of just gonna, I guess, allude a little bit more towards the storyline we're going to go with John Greed and Giant Brody, which is kind of going to be our next big match for him. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I mean, we're already at 86 minutes, so I think let's just do angles here and we'll progress. Let's have Mobstar. He'll be cutting on to Davis, obviously. I just want to have... Actually, you know what? Let's have Davis off screen. And basically, it'll be like a pre-recorded angle. Like on the screen is what I mean. On the big screen. The Tron. So that'll go after the main event. I guess for angle purposes, let's go for Hawking and... Hawking will, I guess, respond to Maddie Faith. He'll be off screen as well. Let's have... This one does need to be written in. So Matt Hawking rejects the invite to, I guess, Faith No More. wants a match against Maddie Faith. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty good. So he's essentially rejecting the invitation, and we obviously know what's going to happen in that main event. So maybe you should have thought about that in a bit more detail. Let's go with an angle for Faith No More themselves. So let's go Maddie, Rock and Ryan Turner, and of course Stan. So Maddie's just going to try and get them fired up a little bit. I think that's the best way to go about this angle. Give them all success there as well, and then we can advance that storyline yet again. I feel like Maddie Faith is just kind of... It was an impromptu signing that I didn't really want to make, and I feel like he's become arguably one of the most important storyline features we have on the series at the moment. I guess at the start of the show, let's have Aldous be joined by Original Sinner and Wicked Lester. And it's going to be interesting. So there's going to be some success there for someone. Guess we should maybe put Zombie Boy in there as well. So let me go Zombie Boy here. And then Lester will be at the end. Alright, so Aldous Blackfire reveals, I guess. Reveals Wicked Lester to be his sacrifice. In return, a mutant... here we go. This is where it becomes interesting. A mutant will be born into the darkness. Yeah, see, I like that storyline. I just literally thought about that just then. So I never knew I could be so creative, to be fair. There we go. Yeah, so reveals Wicked Lester to be his sacrifice. In return, a mutant will be born in the darkness. And obviously, mutant will debut on the next show. So it's pretty fitting, pretty perfect. Okay, what's next? We have one more angle. So, I mean, that's going to Princeton Price. I can see that right now. Nice and easy. And, yeah, Princeton just wants to become the Unified World Champion. OCD kicking in with this capital N. Yeah, pretty simple. Yeah, we can reduce it by 1 minute. It's fine. Okay, there we go. Storytelling will be this match. There we go. Nice and easy. And pre-show, we'll go a 6-man for... Yeah, we'll go for the new boys. Frat Pack, if you will. I'm just going to add them as a stable, I think. I really like the name of the Frat Pack. So it's going to be Jackson and Howison. And I guess they can maybe... Let's have them take on Los Hermanos as well. Los Hermanos, I mean, they're dead. They're pretty much dead in the water, to be honest. They've got nothing left. Got nothing left. Let's give Zach the victory there as well. I'm not really using Christy all that much on the TV shows, I've noticed, but it's on the pre-show. Okay. Anyone else we really need to use? I don't know. Let's go Willie and Asono. And they can take on... I guess let's go Young and Wasted. You know, I'll give Brett Kyle a victory to try and repair his momentum lost on the last week's show. And there we go. All right, that should do us. Let's run the show. All right, so we start off with a 56 rated pre-show match where we have Cooper Christie, Jack Jackson, and Zach Powerson defeating Brothers for Life in 12:21, and Zach Powerson pinned Ray Caballero with a press power slam. That's a good match. I actually like that one. That could have actually been on the TV show, and I wouldn't have been too sort of upset with it. All right, we then go into a 64 rated match on the pre-show here. We have our current Coalition Tag Team Champions, Young and Wasted, defeating Willie LaRue and Yuta Sono in 12:27, when Brett Kyle pinned Willie with a shooting star press. And as you can see, we've got negative chemistry here for Willie LaRue and Yuta Sono. They don't work well as a team together. There we go. It's a good use of the pre-show. Have to admit. Okay, we then start the show off with a pretty decent angle. We get a 76 rated angle. We have Aldous Blackfriar revealing Wicked Lester to be his sacrifice. He proclaims in return, a mutant will be born into the darkness, and it all seems very vague. He speaks in tongues. He's not really, letting the fans know what's actually going on, apart from the fact that he has a casket at ringside, and obviously he's now said that he's going to put Lester inside the casket as a sacrifice. Strange. The match itself is actually pretty good for a Lester match. We get a 69 rated match here. Aldous Blackfriar defeating Wicked Lester in 11:44 by submission with a Gloom Weaver clutch. During the match, we also had Original Sinner run in and attack his tag team partner, Wicked Lester. Original Sinner betrayed his best, well, what we can assume is his best friend, and he's now officially been brainwashed by the new satanic leader, cult leader, if you will, Aldous Blackfriar. And so begins the rebirth of Forces of Darkness. And of course, a mutant is apparently being born, and will be here on the next episode of Coalition Wrestling. Moving into a incredibly good match. We get a 78 here. We have James Diaz and Giant Brody defeating John Greed and Steven Parker. 12:22, when Giant Brody pinned John Greed with a single-handed chokeslam. What a match. Wasn't expecting a 78 for this one, let me just say that. But again, this is going to continue the storyline. We've seen Brody actually get a pinfall victory onto John Greed, so lots of interesting stuff will happen. We then move into an 80 rated angle. I like that. Princeton Price says he wants to become the Unified World Champion. And of course, he proclaims his entry into the One Ring to Rule Them All tournament and says that he's going to be victorious. He worked the crowd well, using the freedom to improvise to his advantage. Hopefully that's going to help his popularity. It's going to be a big month for Princeton, I feel like. He will do well in the tournament. We then go into a 72 rated match as well, which is very good. Poor Graham Gorman, man. He's really talented. But we do have Princeton Price defeating Graham Gorman in 1944 by pinfall. Still doesn't have a finisher or a submission finisher or anything like that, so I'm going to have to make sure I do that before next episode. Otherwise, the tournament might be a bit strange just having him win by pinfall without an actual finisher. Anyway, 65 in ring there for Price and a 79 there for Gorman. So Gorman really deserves an opportunity at the title, I would say. But the poor guy's probably not going to get it. So there we go. Alright, we then move into a 66 rated angle for Faith No More. Of course, Matty Faith, Rock and Ryan Turner, and Stan Manor. Yeah, Matty Faith came across well. And that was scripted as well. So, obviously the most talented out of the three. And of course, Charlie still helping out Matty Faith. Don't know why I did a slow build in that one, but we get a 54 rated match, which isn't too bad. But we have the Rock City Stars defeating the Northern Lights in 12:20 when Stan Manor pinned Riddick Jordan with a rock and roller. That's an interesting one. I must have clicked slow build there accidentally, but it doesn't matter. It was probably not going to be much better than that anyway, to be honest. Just more of a tune-up victory. And again, we want to give some momentum back to Stan Manor for taking the loss on the last episode, on the last show, sorry. All right, we then go into the pre-main event angle with Matt Hocking here, getting a 64, which I think is okay for him. Like I said, he's only at 51 popularity at the moment, so he's really kind of lacking. And yeah, Matt Hocking rejects the invite to Faith No More and wants a match against Maddie Faith instead. Obviously, could be some repercussions from that type of statement. And the main event does incredibly well. We actually get an 84 rated match out of Matt Hocking despite having 51 popularity, which is pretty decent, man. That's up there. We have Davis Wayne Newton, our former Unified World Champion, defeating Matt Hocking in 20 minutes, 2 seconds by submission with an STF after a botched interference by Charlie Corner. So, what it looked like was Charlie was potentially going to help Matt Hocking here, despite Hocking already refusing to join Faith No More. So Charlie, I mean, it is Charlie after all. He botches it, hits Hocking instead. Now it kind of looks like Faith No More might be targeting him a little bit. But again, it was a botched interference. Charlie had the premeditated mindset of going after Davis in the hopes of helping Hocking get a victory. So interesting stuff going on here with this storyline. A little bit strange. Anyway, solid 94 there for Davis, the GOAT. What can we say? I mean, nobody's getting better in-ring performances probably for a while. I mean, I think Aldous probably will exceed him, and maybe Logan Wolfsbane could exceed him already. But who knows if we'll get Logan anyway. So yeah. And we finish off the show with a 93 rated angle from Mobstar. And basically, Mobstar comes out, says that he accepts the I Quit match, and says that he's basically going to turn Davis into his little bitch once he makes him quit the match. Simple as anything. Typical Mobstar fashion. Absolute sort of ruthless gangster thug. Doing what he does best. He's got the gold now as well. So he's looking pretty good at the top of the mountain, if you will. And a solid angle to actually finish off the show there. Alright, so that's a pretty good show rating again. It's not an 85 like the last one, but 83 I think is very respectable. Again, increasing in 53 regions. It's still increasing in Ontario, so we might be close to going up to 78. Potentially. Which is actually really good, so I'll take it. Just means more money, more attendance, more money, more sponsorship, more everything, really. And it gives us a little bit of leeway for our popularity to drop down a little bit. All right, so here we go. We've got some more rival... Ooh, interesting. Rival bid offers, and we have some general offers from BCG, CZCW, and Pride Glory. Let's have a look at all these offers. Okay, what have we got? Interesting, they haven't actually upped their offers. They've upped the bonuses. So Pride Glory not being considered. CZCW not being considered either, which is interesting. They're only giving 10% per event though. So that's probably their downfall. Big sneeze coming out there. Yeah, BCG. Yeah, I mean, it's the same sort of thing. We're actually only giving him 10% merchandise. No bonus as well. That seems like a really strange offer. Obviously not considered at all. Is it Ironclad? Are they all Ironclad? Yes, okay. Alright, so he's still actually considering our offer. We could get him. You know, we actually could get him. this is where I'm sort of confused a little bit. So I could offer him a signing bonus, right? But I'm kind of, in my head, I'm wondering how important is an actual signing bonus? What sort of percentage would a signing bonus actually add to a negotiation? If we give him 0, is he still going to be as inclined? Because obviously those other companies all increased their bonuses, but he's still considering our offer, which is 0 bonus. Now he's probably not going to choose us. Maybe he will because of some sort of affinity, prior company. I don't know. I don't know how the game works in that much detail. It also wasn't exclusive written, the one that we gave him, so let's change that real quick. Some of you guys are probably screaming at me, but I saw it. I saw it. What do we do? Should we just go 25,000? Let's just keep going up from there, I guess. Till we have the winning offer. I mean, should we go like 90,000 signing bonus? I mean, I may as well just give money away at this point. I don't really care. If it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, who knows? Probably doesn't help, if I'm being honest. So 3.5. We're gonna have to go up high. This could actually ruin our Casey Glenn finances. Although I think Casey still has like a year left on his contract, so I'm not gonna worry about it too much, but we're getting a bit dicey here. The more we go up, I feel myself kind of cringing a little bit. I feel like 170 is probably where it's going to be. I don't like that at all. Yeah, there we go, 150. Okay, that's relatively good. And if we actually get him, I would kind of almost feel bad for Frantic Ali looks really good as well. How much? And they're going handshake deal. Oh, that's brutal. That is brutal because they're hemorrhaging money. GSW. Anyway, our viewing figures 431,000. Too bad. Yeah, wow. Frantic Ali. I'm pretty sure he is. Hold on, let me have a look at him. Where is he? Ali. Yeah, so he's actually on an exclusive written contract at the moment, but they're dropping him down. He's also their American champion, so almost feels a little bit weird that they're going to drop him down. But I'll show you the actual company. So GSW, $2.5 million in the hole. Like, I would almost want to buy them purely for their popularity across the US. Like, we could actually get we'd be closer to getting a TV deal there. The real talk, who are they with for their TV show? Ondem, I would assume. They're not doing TV anymore. That's hilarious. They haven't done TV. Wait, that was their best ratings. They stopped doing TV in July. And they were doing tapings as well. I feel like tapings are actually a very bad thing to an extent. Because you save money for production values and stuff like that. Then you also get penalized because you don't actually get the attendance for 4 different shows. You only get it for whatever you tape for. You know, if you tape it all on one day, that's 1 attendance and that's it. And it's a low attendance as well. It's only a TV show attendance. Let's have a look at their recent pay-per-views. So, okay, 15,000. So they could be coming out of it a little bit. 13,000, 12,000. This is where they messed it up, man. They're doing like weird sort of touring for their pay-per-view. Like, if you tour with your pay-per-view, you are going to lose a lot of money. You have to run your pay-per-views in your home region. TV shows are a different story because you can lose that money and make it back from your pay-per-view attendance, but you cannot tour your pay-per-views. Yeah, make sure you never do that, guys, unless you're a huge company with money to burn. Anyway, let me advance. Let's get into the last show of the episode. We're, what, hour and 20 minutes in? It's going to be a long one, but obviously there was a lot to talk about at the start of the episode, just with the whole settings, preferences. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling a little bit better about this episode, if I'm being honest. I feel like the 87 was a nice rating to get, and even that main event just then with Davis and Hocking, I mean, that was pretty good as well. I mean, Logan Wolfsbane, who would have thought it? $150,000. I shouldn't have actually processed that far. I'm mashing the spacebar. It's going to not respond in a second. I should be careful, because I don't actually have a backup save. Should probably make one of those. If you want to make a backup save, just go into your... There we go, it actually stopped. Good thing I stopped, because now US Pro have come in. Let's have a look. Please don't be higher than our offer. That would be frustrating. Alright, so no one's being seriously considered. Yeah, same with US Pro. We are literally going to sign Logan Wolfsbane. We're only overspending by about $30,000 as well. I know the signing bonus is $90,000, but that's just the signing bonus. We don't have to... In the grand scheme of things, that's not going to be too much. Obviously, the pay-per-view bonuses for him and Aldous are going to be massive. Massive. But it's fine. Look at that. ACPW coming in for Rock and Ryan Turner. You would do that, wouldn't you? You would. It's a handshake deal, though. Should I screw them over and just give him a written contract? Part of me wants to. But he's such a cheap worker that it kind of doesn't make sense for us to do that. He's literally on a $196 per show. I think we'll leave it for now. We don't need to be spending money out of spite, shall we say. Anyway, Anna Garcia. Now, she's a color commentator, but she's pretty bad. I'm looking for a really good color commentator and a really good announcer. That's kind of the next big signings that I want to make. But there's so few of them. They're only in the big companies. We literally just have to wait for them to become available. So, and there's nothing we can do. Anyway, let's take a look at CWA Apocalypse 6. Interesting show. Very good show, to be fair. 95 rated. A 297 rated matches in there. We've got Sunny Wildside beating Mikey Lau to retain the CWA World title. We've also got Mark Dubois beating Skip Bo to retain the television title. Interesting match. And yeah, Brooke Tyler defeating Lauren Easter in a cage match as well, getting a 97. Some really good matches. Honestly, I feel like we should probably be getting nearly the same, but similar. In the 90s, I think 90 should be our sort of main event pay-per-view default, if you will. That last match should have got a 90, in my opinion. Said it a lot. Anyway, let's get into the next show. Otherwise, this episode's going to be about 2 hours long. Of course, this show, we're going to have the debut of Mutant. Looking forward to that. I mean, just adding another rank to the stable itself. Also need to actually add all of them into the stable. So I don't think I've actually done this yet. Got another manager here from EILL, but it's nothing too serious. Frantic Ali extending his deal, and we have the return of a familiar face. Mr. Wolfsbane himself, fresh from TCW, where he turned into a real star. Let's be real. Also, yeah, $150,000. Ooh, that's brutal. It really hurts me, like, inside, when we're paying this much money. considering like just go back to the early episodes and how much we were in debt. And I know it's a local to global. That's what happens. But man, what a series, eh? What a series so far. We've still got a long way to go. I'm still enjoying every second of it. I know I might be getting frustrated a lot, but I'm actually enjoying the series more now than I did probably 10 to 15 episodes ago, if that makes sense. It's kind of just the immersion, getting stuck in with the characters and the storyline building and the way things are playing out as well. It all just feels really good. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it as well. I know you are, because the views are going pretty crazy at the moment. Claire Winters. If we were ever going to start a women's division, we should start it right now. Absolutely right now with Claire Winters. I would love to start a women's division, but I want to keep the series separate. I know that sucks, and I know you guys are probably upset about it. If you want to see women's wrestling, go check out Val Pro. Of course, things are really starting to heat up over there as well. But I'm sure most of you guys that are watching right now probably already watched that series as well. So we've got Doc Hammond and Chip. More psychology to Chip Martin, which is only a good thing, but unfortunately for Chip, we really don't use him, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, let's go to Mississauga for this last show of the episode. And honestly, I have no idea what I want to do for our main event. Actually, yes, I do. We're going big again. We are going. Let me go back. We are not going that yet. I have to do stuff. Stables. Forces of Darkness. Down to 2, but not for long. So, Aldous is going to come in as the leader. We're going to put Mutant in here as well as the, I guess, deputy. And then we can have Original Sinner. And then Zombie Boy will sort of go to the wayside. He'll be a member, but he's probably going to be the lackey. And you might be wondering, why not make Original Sinner the lackey? Well, I think I'm going to partner Mutant and Sinner together to be the new Doomsday Generation. I feel like they're both massive units. Like, he's literally a big heavyweight, and then he's also a big heavyweight. They're both muscular as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I just think it's pretty badass, to be honest. Anyway, the main event is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a very sort of out of left field victory as well. We're going to go Aldous Blackfriar and Mutant on debut to take on the Golden Goats. Yes, the Golden Goats. You might be thinking I'm insane, but hear me out. Aldous is going to win, Zeus is going to lose, and we are going to keep Davis strong. Should I make it tainted? I don't think I want to make it tainted. I don't want to use domination for Mutant either, but that would kind of be the story of the match, if that makes sense. So Mutant, it's his birth. The birth from the darkness of Mutant. And we're going to have an angle before this match as well, which will obviously put Mutant over as he's being born from the darkness. I guess it would kind of be like an Undertaker sort of entrance with the lights out. The smoke would be everywhere. And then Mutant just rises. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, the rest of the show, I mean, it doesn't even really matter what happens on the rest of the show. But what we will do is have Hawking take on Charlie Corner. Obviously a pretty natural sort of progression there. Kind of like the match as well for Hawking. Gives him another victory after losing, obviously, against Davis. How's Charlie doing on psychology? 58. I mean, it's getting there. If we use him more, he will gain those points. All right. Could we have Matty Faith on commentary? I mean, we may as well, because I mean, it's not really going to affect the match too much, so we may as well just chuck it out there, to be fair. What else? All right, let me take not a team away. Make them inactive now. Save that. I was about to delete them. I don't want to delete them. 59 experience there. All right, what's next? So let's go a tag team match for the Moneymakers. And they can take on Red, White, and Blue. Actually, no, they can take on Los Hermanos. Yeah, Los Hermanos 3. Like I said, it really doesn't matter anymore. Hermanos are kind of dead in the water. Just ever since Gonzalez was capped, it's gone downhill from them. The fact he can't get over 70 basics is just dreadful. He was actually on course to be similar to Diaz in the Diaz push. So, you know, we made him the champion. And it all just fell downhill from there, really. Anyway, up next we need... I literally don't know what to do next. Let's go for... Let's go a tag match with... Let's go Kavanaugh and Public Enemy to take on... Because obviously Papa Swole doesn't want to tag with Kavanaugh anymore. So they can take on Angry Gilmore and Goldstein. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I don't care. It's more for storyline purposes. I mean, it will literally be our storytelling match. We'll give the victory to Goldstein. And it will have to be scripted as well, actually. Alright, there we go for that one. What else? Wouldn't mind going like a squash match. Let's go Giant Brody taking on Jay Silver. I can just go for 10. Brody will dominate though. So it's not exactly a squash, but it is a domination. For Jay Silver. Actually, do I want to do a domination? I don't feel like a domination is really necessary. Let's just go open. I don't want to bury people. Even though Jay's kind of got nothing left anyway. And I guess that can actually allow me to have an angle. Well, let's do angles now. Let's do angles. So let's have the Aldous mutant angle. That's perfectly fine. Let's go for their storyline. The rebirth of Forces of Darkness. So we've got Menace there for Mutant and Entertainment for Aldous. Obviously, he's going to be doing the talking, if you will. Before that match, before Hawking and Charlie, we want to have Maddie Faith actually confront Hawking. So let's go double success there as well. It's only going to be Maddie Faith talking, but obviously he's going to come out and then... I'll explain it. I'll explain it. I want to have a cheeky Angry Gilmore and Aussie Goldstein angle because we know it's going to be money, so do that one as well. Of course, two old rivals. Then we'll have John Greed cut a promo onto Giant Brody for his rematch. I think that's a pretty good one. Again, advancing their storyline as well. Don't forget, Doc Hammond will be kind of involved at some stage. That needs to be there. And, I mean, I guess we can just do another match. So let's go a Cooper Christie match against Yuta Usono. Of course, they're former competitors. They've done it before. They've done it before. Actually, let's put the title on the line. And we're going to go a little bit risky with it. So let's go open called a bit of decisive draw. Actually, no, let's not make it a draw. Let's have Cooper win, but it will be a cheap win. Yeah, so it's a cheap win. Outside interference finish onto Cooper by Gary Walker. Of course, kind of what Gary's about at the moment. And that looks pretty good. Although it now takes us very high. I kind of wanted to have an angle. You know what? It's fine. We don't need an angle. We'll work the crowd with that one. And that'll be it. Okay. Pre-show, let's do tag action for Jack and Zach. They can take on John Greed and Princeton Price. Give another victory there to Princeton. It's just on the dark show. Pre-show. Perfectly fine. Let's go for Dace. Ooh, we might not be able to do this angle. We're overusing Mutant. I lower that by 2. Does that do anything? What if I lower this down to 16? Yeah, that works. Can I go back up to 8? No. Yes, I can. Okay. It's only being slightly overused. So let me just make that Gilmore. Wonder if I can actually make this go up to... No. Okay. I kind of want to get the longest match possible, so let me see 17 as well. Okay, 16 minutes it is. That's perfectly fine. It gives us a slow build on that match as well. And the final match on the show, or for the pre-show, I guess. Let's go Graham Gorman, James Diaz, and... I don't know. Who else? I guess Gary Walker. No, he's already got hot momentum. Let's go for Alton Vicious. And they can take on... They can take on Chip Martin. Pepper Pelton. And... yeah, Zippy as well. And what we'll do is we'll give the victory there to Alton, just so he gets a bit of momentum, bit of popularity, bit of something, hopefully. Okay, there we go. Let's run the show. I think it looks pretty good. All right, so we start off with a 59 rated pre-show match where we have Graham Gorman, James Diaz, and Alton Vicious defeating Chip Martin, Pepper Pelton, and Zippy Deverill. The Jobber Trio in 12:30, and Alton Vicious pinned Pepper Pelton with a vicious snap. It's a good match. Obviously, it's a lot of carrying, but still pretty good. And we have Pepper off his game. No surprise there. We've got Zippy with a gimmick that's getting stale, so we'll have to change that. But it doesn't matter if I forget. Who cares? He's a jobber. And then Alton Vicious getting better at his gimmick as well. Positive. All right, we then go to the next pre-show match, getting a 62 here, where we have John Greed and Princeton Price defeating Jack Jackson and Zach Powerson. 11:45 when Princeton Price pinned Zach Powerson. Yeah. Pretty good match on the pre-show, though. Obviously, Jack up to a 54 in-ring, so getting pretty close to sort of John Greed level, which is very interesting. All right, we then open the show with a 67 rated match, which is very good for a 12-minute match. And we have Cooper Christie defeating Yujiro Sono in 11:37 by pinfall. Yeah, that's weird. Oh, It didn't even come up, though. That's weird. I didn't do DQ finish, which is the problem. Okay, let's just treat it as what it is. By pinfall with a top rope elbow to drop, and we have Cooper Christie making defense number 4 of the CWC Canadian title. Let's just imagine that Gary Walker comes out and attacks Cooper after the match. And then we move into a 53 rated match where we have Giant Brody defeating Jay Silver in a pretty easy contest in 9:42 by pinfall with a single-handed chokeslam. As you expect, Brody just kind of, Silver gets some offense in. It's open, but the underlying tone is Brody's a, super heavyweight that dominates. All right, we then go into an 80 rated angle where we have John Greed confront Giant Brody. Basically, challenging him to a rematch, says that, he got lucky on last week's show where he managed to get a pinfall victory over Greed. And Greed says that he wants to win it back. Simple as that. And Greed says that he's willing to put some money on the line. Of course, he's Mr. Wall Street himself. And yeah, it's a really good angle, to be fair. Really good. We then go into the Moneymakers match, getting a 72. Just crazy out of Los Hermanos 3. They do indeed defeat Los Hermanos 3 in 12-14 when Stephen Parker pinned Ray Cavallero with a Make It Rain. Of course, Jackpot Jordan head and shoulders above everybody else with Ray Cavallero the weak link. Jackpot with a 77 in ring. Sorry, I pointed at Stephen. Jackpot might be a future main eventer for us. He's surpassed my expectations pretty well. Anyway, we move on. Exactly the reason why I did this angle. We get a 96 rated angle for former rivals turned friends, Angry Gilmore and Ozzy Goldstein. And as you can see, they are so good. Angry Gilmore did a masterful job of improvising interactions with the crowd, and Goldstein enjoyed having the freedom to go off script and performed well. There we go. It is what it is. They are that good. The match, however, not so good. Get a 61 rated match. Obviously, we've got the negative chemistry between these two guys, but that's perfectly fine. We have Angry Gilmore and Ozzy Goldstein defeating Mighty Kavanaugh and Public Enemy in 11:51, and Ozzy Goldstein pinned Public Enemy with a golden shower. Obviously, Ozzy head and shoulders above everybody else in the match. Good stuff. Good victory. Just kind of putting a little bit more dissension between the crew, really. So what's going to come from this is Kavanaugh is essentially going to blame Public Enemy. All right, we then go into an 80 rated angle from Matty Faith, of course, cutting it onto Matt Hocking just before the start of his match. Of course, he's coming out to do color commentary and basically says that, he doesn't want Hocking to look at him as the enemy. He wants him to look at him as an ally. He wants to bring themselves together, bring everybody together in Faith No More. He thinks that Matt Hocking would be the perfect fit to be his understudy. He says understudy, looks him in the eyes, and basically calls him just another member, really. Just another lackey, if you will, with Faith remaining the leader. The match does super well considering it's Charlie Corner. We get a 69, which is very surprising. We have Matt Hocking defeating Charlie Corner 12:08 by pinfall with a Hock Shock. Good match. Really didn't expect it to be that good. I mean, Hocking only got a 68 in ring, and the match got a 69. And let's just say Charlie, not setting the world alight, still a 46 for him is actually pretty good. Anyway, we move on. Not a great angle. Probably shouldn't have had Mutant be rated on Menace. Would have helped this one out, I think. We get a 68 rated angle here for the birth of Mutant from the darkness. Obviously, Blackfriar did a masterful job of improvising. So, if he wasn't rated in this angle Mutant, this would have been like a 90 rated angle, I feel like. Damn it. Okay. Anyway, he debuts his King of the Wasteland gimmick. So, yeah, he's definitely going to be a part of Doomsday Generation. And, yeah, get an initial rating of great. So, another really good positive gimmick. But as you can see, he underperformed. and all this came out looking excellent. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. Okay, so perfect. So losses do not hurt momentum as much as usual. That's actually a good one to get. And he's not suitable to babyface. Obviously, we don't care about that. We don't use faces or heels. We probably never will. I know I said a long time ago that I wanted to change it. But it's just easier booking this way because I can change people on the fly. I can turn people when I want to turn them instead of waiting for when the game chooses to make me turn them. That makes sense, and doing it early and stuff. Anyway, the main event actually is surprising. We get an 81 rated match. We have Aldous Blackfriar and Mutant defeating the Golden Goats in 1536 when Aldous Blackfriar pinned Zeus Maximilian with a Batwing. Obviously, Davis carrying the match, Mutant being the weak link. But Mutant has, what, 41 popularity? 41 popularity. And he's got an 81 rated match and a victory as well. Now, obviously, oh my god, a 97 in-ring performance from Davis. We kept him strong. How was this match this good? I thought it was going to tank. Honestly, I thought maybe a 70 rated match. Good stuff. Drop a like. I'm impressed. So should you. So should you be. Yeah. I don't know what to say. Obviously, the great chemistry. Obviously, the Golden Goats putting in a lot of work. Yeah. Finish the show. Okay, so we only get an 81 rated show, which is perfectly fine. The main event wasn't that good. We only got a 196 rated angle. Everything else is 81 or lower. A couple of 80s in there, so it's not terrible. But again, no increase in Ontario and no increase for the other regions of America that we mentioned earlier in the episode. But overall, that was a really good show, surprisingly. Because like I said, I was expecting that main event because of Mutant to tank a little bit. We've done well. Viewing figures up to 437,000, so we gained another 6,000 back, which is surprising. But I think it has to do with the people we used on the show. Anyway, that takes us towards the end of the episode. I'm going to check a few things, a few popularity. Obviously, Aldous being the main one there. But we're up to 61 pop in Quebec, 37 in Alberta, 43 I think is up. No, it's the same. Still 43 in Saskatchewan, and we're still 58 there in Manitoba, and British Columbia is still 24 as well. So I think we only went up in Alberta and Quebec. And the Maritimes as well, actually. That was before the most recent show. Anyway, what an episode. We're bringing back Logan Wolfsbane. 79 popularity. Intense. Absolutely beastly skills in the ring. I mean, look at this. 75 brawling, 84 tech. He's 27 years old. And we've now got him for 10 years. 78 star quality. I mean, he's not the best on the microphone, but that's perfectly fine. We don't need him to be. We honestly don't need him to be. He's already popular enough, to be fair. Super happy with that. Super happy. And again, let me know, guys, about the settings if you want me to change, if you're happy for me to change something, or if you want things to stay the same and we keep trying to work it out, I guess. Anyway, popularity. Okay, so he's gone from 71 up to 73 in Ontario, which is very nice. Let's check Mutant. Looks like he went up a fair bit. Yeah, 2 points. 44, so he's 44, not 41. But 44 up to 46. 47's in the US there as well, which is interesting. Hocking's had a pretty big month, only gained 1 point. Yeah, only the one. Actually, he didn't actually gain a point in Ontario, so that's actually frustrating. Jackpot. What is Jackpot doing? Still gaining popularity at an alarming rate. Crazy. Crazy stuff there. Who else? I don't know, actually. There's not really anyone else that I really need to look at. Gary Walker's at 45. He gained 1 point this episode as well. But honestly, I mean, it's perfectly fine. Anyway, let's have a little look at the franchise players here. Well, the creative meeting, I should say. We've got Davis, Gilmore, Modstar, and Goldstein. Next big things, Powerson, Christie, Papa Swole. Surprisingly, Blackfriar's there and not on the franchise players. He'll be there soon. And then a Sono, Hot Prospects. Interesting, we've got a Primetime Jack Pride here as well. Obviously, we're not pushing him at the moment at all, so sucks to be him, but anyway. Yeah, so all this is number 1. I mean, they're all pretty self-explanatory, really. Showstoppers, Prince and Price, number 2. Logan Wolfsbane, number 3, which is very good to see. And Aldous, number 4. Ring Generals, Graham, number 1. Logan, number 2. Very impressive. And Aldous, number 3. So you can see the transition. Even Cooper Christie is actually above Davis, which is crazy. Everything's looking pretty good. Who's this guy? You know what? He's not too bad, but he's an egomaniac, so I don't think we really want to bring him in. Jordan Richard. I'm assuming it's Richard, not Richard. But anyway, that is going to be the end of the episode, guys. Please make sure you smash a like. I know you probably have already, so it's pointless for me to ask. But also make sure you're a subscriber to the channel with the notifications turned on. We are indeed up to 9.7% of subs with the notifications turned on. Getting ever close to that 10%. So make sure you do that if you haven't done so already. And apart from that, guys, look forward to the next episode, our first episode on pay-per-view. Yes, I'm looking forward to it, and I know you guys are as well. Just don't forget, drop a comment down below about the settings, preferences, the storylines, and of course the crowd burnout. Apart from that, guys, as always, take it easy, and goodbye.